hosting to stop. In the meantime, I will go ahead and send out my tweet. There we go. Okay, and for those of you that are on here and not paying attention to WildStar, there is the maintenance today. Usual time, 4 a.m. PDT, 1 p.m. CEST time. I think it's supposed to last about an hour, last I checked. Fair warning, I noticed there was a message that there was some connectivity issues for WildStar. It's been a few hours ago since I saw the message, but just in case we blip out, that might be the cause. Supposedly the issues have been resolved, but just a little bit of a heads up in case something goes a little wonky. So we'll try and get through this without any troubles. Before we get started on the tours, though, a few things I do want to mention. For those of you that haven't been paying attention to the cash shop, there are some interesting new tidbits up. I don't know how recent ago they were released or whatever, but there are the Sandcastle sampler pack that's still up. I think it was taken down temporarily and then replaced again because they withdrew it a little prematurely. So there's the Sandcastle stuff. There's the surfboard sampler pack, which is up for various bits. And there's also the Alien Decor pack, which has a lot of new interesting plants, daffodils, things like that, multiples of each, so that's nice in case you're looking for some different kinds of plants that you haven't had an opportunity to get a hold of and use. I think there's a new fab kit as well. Yeah, the Surfside, excuse me, seashell fab kit. I haven't seen this one on anyone's plot yet, but wouldn't be surprised if there are a few that have it out already. I don't know if it comes with a quest kind of thing or what, but it looks interesting. I think it would be more appropriate for those that have either a beach scene or even probably an underwater thing kind of going on. So something just to keep your eyes open for. As well, let's see, there was a new post about the future of in-game events. Apparently for the next few weeks they're going to be running through their chase events, which I think this one this week is, let me check and make sure, I think it's the dungeon chase event, but apparently they're going to be doing some others as well. But the dungeon chase is running from July 3rd to the 10th, so you still got a little bit of time. It's only the 5th today, so that should be helpful. But in the post or news article that they had about the future of in-game events, they're running these dungeon chases, battle chases, space chase, and all that for one last time. And then it's going to change up. And what they're doing is they're going to be introducing a new event called a residential renovation. Now, they don't give full details, which are going to be incoming. I don't know when, but soon, probably after they've calmed down with all these last runs of the chases as they are. Players will help a housing designer and renovator extraordinaire Sarah Conavius, I think, by completing a variety of activities to earn currency which can be traded for rewards. They're currently planning to run this week-long event once a month and rotate the former dungeon battle, sim chase, etc. rewards each time. So if you aren't interested in doing the chases as they are now, it looks like you're going to be able to get a chance to obtain some of the rewards that come from those events in a different fashion later. So hopefully people will enjoy having an opportunity to get those if they were otherwise unable to. Plus, it will, since it will be a monthly thing, and they will be rotating, I think, the rewards each month. So like every 3 or 4 months, you'll get the same rewards stuffs coming up. So for those that are looking to obtain multiples of certain items of that nature, will have an opportunity to do so on a fairly regular basis. So that's a good thing, I think. Should be interesting to see exactly how that's going to work. But yeah, there you go. So just wanted to mention those in case some of you hadn't noticed or read or heard about it. And so that you're aware and can partake and enjoy those benefits. So yeah, good morning, Poi and Bones, and anyone else that happens to be lurking about. And no worry, Bones, I know you are watching this at work, so if you have to dash off, go right ahead. Um, as Poi says, we'll enjoy your tiki bits when we can. Okay, so this week is Entity's turn. Last week we visited a plot on Jabbit. I had actually hoped to get to a few more last week, but kind of strung out a little bit. We got to visit one of Sisqui's amazing builds, and they went through the trouble of writing out a pretty extensive walkthrough, so I took my time and followed it as close as possible. I think I got lost a couple of times, but there you go. But today is entity side, so I dug up a few places that I think will interest you guys. This one in particular I found interesting because we've come across a lot of city town type of plots, and it's always fun to see the different ways that people approach it. Now, we've seen various approaches to faux buildings and just regular buildings, the different constructions. So this should give you an idea of how this person approached the problem of trying to make it look like a full-on kind of town city without really going overboard in the construction of the buildings surrounding. So it's called Skyreach Street. This is, let me get this right, James Mornaby's plot. Of course, I will be labeling these on the videos later so you can get the names if you want to visit them in person. Hey Mario, good morning. Yes, it has been a while. And we're not going to go any further on that, Bum. It's probably bad I even said it that way, but so the way they're doing this is they're taking the walls, the Exile, Oran, Granok, etc. type of walls, and using them as kind of a backdrop. It's almost something you'd see like in a play or a mural or something to kind of give the illusion that there's some buildings in the backdrop. So you have these walls behaving as buildings. Now, I gather this is supposed to be more like a off in the distance type of deal. Not that these are like mini buildings. And you can see that they've done the same thing back here and here as well. Probably great for, like, again, for screenshots and such. If we come over this way and took a shot of the entrance, it would look like there's some city or buildings off in the distance here. I think it's an interesting way of doing it. It's one approach. It's not the only approach, obviously, since we've seen many different takes on how to give that illusion. Some have actually gone through the trouble of making faux buildings more along the lines of this to surround the entire plot. Others have used the trees and bushes to cover up the size of the plots that they don't want seen, or they want to, you know, that kind of stuff. So there's no right or wrong way to do it. I think it just depends on many factors, including how much decor space you have left. Some work better with grander scale type of buildings, whereas others prefer to keep as much detail in certain areas rather than, you'll notice this one actually has some shops that are open. So they're using decor there. So they can't dedicate a full amount to the construction of the buildings themselves. So you have to take that into consideration. So it's different for everybody. But yes, as Poi pointed out, they are testing communities. I'm not sure if it's still up on the PTR. I think they took them down for a little bit and then put them up with some changes. I'm not really positive on that. I haven't been keeping up with the PTR myself. I just haven't had a chance to fiddle with it. I'm not even sure if I can fit it on the computer anymore. I had to take it off for a period of time and I just haven't reinstalled it. So that's just laziness on my part. But from what I've heard, there's some good bits and bad bits about it. I think the biggest thing right now that people have been fussing about is the costs involved. I think, though, that's primarily driven by those that had planned to tackle the community system on their own, which I'm not entirely sure that was the plan that Carbine had in their head. I think they assumed that people would work together as groups of 5 and be able to handle the costs more efficiently that way by sharing the costs. And I think those builders that love the grand scaling and had intended to build up their own, community themselves, find the costs a little bit tougher to handle, just because it's, they would be raising the money on their own. So I don't know if they're going to give consideration to those that would approach the community system in that way or not. But I know there were some other glitches and stuff, but I'm sure those will get addressed as best as possible when the time comes for it to go live, which we don't have an actual date yet. They just said sometime this year. It could be way toward the end. It could eventually get pushed even further. I would rather them take their time and get it right and smoothly working than to push and rush them. It's something that people have been asking for a long time, and they've mentioned it for a while, and it's nice that that's looking closer and closer to becoming a reality as far as going live and everything. Okay, so again, most of the buildings are constructed out of the walls. You can see the exile walls, Oran ones, the Granite here. There's even a little bit of Draken and etc. The pavement, or the sidewalks, I guess I should say, are just Draken floors. The streets themselves appear to be travel posters. And the crosswalks, the last city plot we visited, they used the brick strip of the cellar entrance as their strips, and they ended up using quite a few more than this. I think it was like, I don't know, 10 or so across. This one has kept it to 5, and as far as I can tell, it looks to be like books is what it looks like to me, like yellow books. It could be cardboard boxes. I think that might be closer to what it is. I think the book is a little bit a different shape. So cardboard boxes, maybe. It's one of the two. I think the cardboard boxes have a nice texture like this as well as the yellow book. So I think either one would work depending on the aesthetic, the width or the shape that you're wanting to go for. Hey, Faye, good morning. Glad you could join. So you can see the streets are pretty wide. There's potential, depending on the builder's flexibility as far as decor placement goes. There's potential for them to add vehicles, NPCs to litter the town if they want. I assume this is set up for role-playing purposes, for a hangout, a town visit for some role-play troupe or whatever. But wide enough where, at least 2 lanes of traffic kind of thing going on. There's no stop signs or anything that I've noticed. but they do have the street lamps and stuff. So we're just going to go around, we'll start on this side and just work our way around. Now I will say that this plot does not have a prefab home, no hatch house or anything. It is completely, well, I'll just show you in the middle to get that over with. So you know for sure that I'm not fibbing. It's the building itself is just granite walls with a little bit of accent from the Cassian pillars. They've got windows for, well, windows, but they also have them for the doors with bottle tops for the handles. The display cases on either side of the main doors are the display cases that are kind of pushed in. We've seen it used for like weapon displays on walls, even food displays. You just have to push it in just enough to hide the skull and scrolls and whatever else is on those. And they're using it like, I don't know if it's a furniture shop or a clothing shop or just the house goods kind of thing that they're trying to show off. But if we were to hop up here, I'll show you. I'll get my camera to angle just enough, hopefully. You can see that there's the junk from the construction site. So they haven't even bothered to buy a home or anything. So you don't actually enter this. There's nothing there. It's just a faux building altogether. It's one example of, you know, if you don't want to invest the money in buying a hatch house, which is like 3 plat, or any of the other houses, which is, you know, not cheap by any means, especially for beginner builders, beginner players. That's one way of tackling it. Just cover up the construction site, make it your own, and do something else along the outer parts. And this is just an example of that. So again, we come into a little, this is kind of like a main street. You have your different shops. This one happens to be a burger and drink shop, I think, or shop for, oh, okay, it's ice cream, I guess. They've got the tables, little decorations along the wall, nothing too fancy. But they did go all out in the ice cream display. So you've got sandbags for chocolate. I guess this is supposed to be strawberry, so they've got the pink pillows. They've got vanilla, which is the snow clumps. Was that pistachio with the green pillows? And then I don't know what this is supposed to be, a banana and strawberry, some kind of Neapolitan kind of thing. The size menu for small to large. And then they even have an example of a, looks like a banana split going on. Of course, the bananas there with the different types of ice creams. This is probably a great bowl for that, so that a lot of things aren't sticking out. It's a pretty thick bowl, not like the, say if you wanted to use the domes instead. Those are pretty thin. You'd have to use multiples of them to get the thickness that this bowl gives on its own. They also have a little machine here, presumably for like shakes or something, I guess. Could easily be modified to make it look like a coffee machine, cappuccino, I don't know what else you could put in there. Cute idea. Pretty basic. There's a lot of detail in it. I mean, there's a lot of cups and bowls and bottles, multiples of, so there's a lot of decor use right here. That's why I think the chairs and such are simplified. Others, especially if it's an underground, like in the bunker house type of thing, they might go a little bit more elaborate and actually make their own chairs and tables and things. But this works wonderful for the outside. Again, one of my favorite plant things is the blue pod planter. It's Insta flower bed, especially if you put multiples together. If you don't like the wooden box trim, you can just push it down and just have the dirt showing, and it works just as well. Great for trimming around houses, adding extra plants to an already existing garden. I just like it because there's so much already there. You got a little bit of greenery, some flowers, some extra little bits, and now with the color shifting, you can even add that to the mix and dress it up even more. But this is great for like a cityscape, the way they've built it up and made it uniform. The cities is not too jungly. It's always very uniform and trim and nice and proper. So here we have a plant shop. So they got a variety of those. The watering pots. Very simple, very basic, but you know what it is going in. Notice they don't have shop signs. We have seen some builders actually go through the trouble of adding signs, spelling it out, or making their own little, I don't want to say like little logos, like for bookshop, they would have a book on some kind of a board, and that would look like the bookshop kind of thing. Candles for the candle shop, that kind of stuff. It's very simple. Great way of kind of giving signs where we don't actually have signs. Here's the butcher. So great place to use those corpses. Pretty disgusting, but it works even if it looks a little gross. And an interesting way of using the welder. I don't think I've seen that before. Usually they're working on machinery, but there you go. Of course, the countertop here is just walls, curved glass, and floors. Very simple, but it looks nice and neat. They didn't go through the trouble of adding a cash register, which is possible. Um, some like to have these and then add a little faux door, like there's an extension, a back shop kind of area, whatever. There's a lot of other things that you could do to this if you don't, if you want to add extra details. Here's a little garbage. It's just an oversized chew cup with some sandbags in it. Very simple, but you know what it is. This is probably one of my favorite buildings. I'm a big fan of uh, Asian themes. Even in real life, I have a lot of little Asian knickknacks. So this is a real treat to me. Seeing different ways of people, how they treat the roofs and the buildings themselves. The roof itself is an exile floor with flarings from the hover part pieces. I don't know specifically which ones. There's just too many to remember, for my sake anyway. But I'm sure you could come up with a variety of different ways of doing the roof. We've seen many use, like I think it's the edge pieces and the half pipes to give it like a little curly flare kind of thing. This is a little bit more on the flat side, but it works. They're using the archways to give those little round windows, and then using the uh, Oran, I think it is, Oran or Exile pillars for the window framework, which is like a typical look for Asian windows. Of course, they're showing off their collection of the exotic decor, which includes the dividers, the shelves, the tables, uh, the dresser here. Don't see the couch anywhere, but just a reminder that the couch, as far as I'm aware, still doesn't have collision on it, so you don't actually get to use it as a seat. It doesn't have any interactability or anything. But we've seen other players, builders, get around that by adding in pillows or floor wall pieces or something to make that bottom solid so that you can at least emote that you're sitting on top of it. So that's a clever way of getting around that kind of glitchiness going on. Again, a lot of detail putting in all the things on the shelf. This I think is to be like a fortune teller. Got the crystal ball, which is a file there. The ghost of soap has passed. Yes, indeed. I'm surprised they haven't fixed it yet because it's been that way forever, it seems. Okay, the next shop, they actually do have a sign for it, but obviously, you know, again, unless you look inside, you might not understand what it's supposed to represent, but it's cute that they have it. I like the awning as well. It's got almost a Western kind of look to it because a lot of the old Western shops have this little flat board up here, and that's where the sign goes, and then everything else is kind of boxed. So it reminds me of that. This looks to be, let's see, uh, looks like a pizza parlor. That's what it's supposed to be. So you've got this overhead, which is the gear lamp, which, as far as I'm aware, it still does not give on any actual light. But I do think it counts towards your light count, which is rude, but that's the way it is sometimes. Um, the pizzas, really simple idea. I've made some myself, but mine are usually way more complicated than this. I like the simplicity of these type of pizzas. It's an orange window, and then they've got, it looks like bottle bottoms uh, being used for the pepperonis. It's really hard to tell, but yeah, you can see the bottle sticking out the bottom there. It's probably the only downside. If you want to avoid having anything actually poking out like that, for someone like me that's going to kind of move my camera around so I can peek around there, um, you could just make the tray or the plate that the pizza's on a little thicker, maybe, and that might alleviate that, or add some tablecloth hanging down from the table. That'll hide it as well. But yeah, it looks like bottle bottoms. Really cute and clever. Simple. My pizzas take way more pieces than that, so this is perfect for those that are on a budget of decor count. Notice the shakers on the end. Those are just Merg explosives, I think. It could be salt and pepper. It could be Parmesan, I guess. Um, or there's some other kind of cheeses that you might want to sprinkle on your pizza. Notice they do have their own pizza oven that they put together. It almost looks like an igloo. So, you know, that would be an interesting way of getting a really quick little igloo if you change the color to a black and white, maybe. I don't know, using orange pieces. But this one is Draken ones. It's just dome and a cylinder. I'm not quite sure what they're using for the base of this. I suspect it's the bottom of either the Merg explosive or the fan. I think the fan is a little more brightly colored, the exhaust fan. So I suspect it's the Merg explosive or something similar for that to make it look like it's a dark oven type thing. They could have left it open and actually put in a fire pit as well back there. I personally have used, mine were more like paintings of ovens, but I've used the campfire, the bottom of it, to make it look like a fire with, and you get the fire sounds and the embers coming off, and it looks a little different. But this is just as good. The drawer down here, or the cabinet, is a metal crate with a bottle for that. They're using the spade as the pizza paddle, I guess is what it's called. He's a little happy to be working in the pizza shop there. Again, lots of decor count being eaten up by all of these little details as well. Got some picnic tables for those that want to eat their pizza outdoors. Got some vendors out here. taco vendor, apple vendor, and here they've expanded the apple vendor cart to include other fruits and veggies that a farmer might offer. I like the use of the cellar entrances as the little shelves for the display. I think that's pretty smart. Over here we have a little community gathering location, the gazebo. This is where maybe the mayor comes and makes a special announcement, or they have a public wedding, or whatever it might be. Some little gathering place. They have their Oktoberfest here or something, change up the decorations, add some string lights, and you got a little party going on. The gazebo itself, though, I think is pretty cute. We've seen, again, multiple examples of how one might go about constructing one. This one's relatively straightforward. It's got those bowls, the ones that we like for using for turtle shells, and the base is domes or cylinders, and then curved walls. We've seen the base as the bowls themselves, but this one's using it as the roof. Some include chandeliers of some kind for lighting. Some actually put, like this piece here, the fence post. Some of them will actually string it along the pillars to make it look like the vines are growing up the side. Some have added seats. You could have added benches in here. If it's going to be an announcement place or some place for performers, you could have added a microphone or some other kind of little bits. Just mentioning different things that you could add to it, or change up if you want to make it look a little different. But very cute, simple. I like that one. It's nice and clean and uh, efficient in the amount of pieces used. So many of us like to get really detailed. I mean, if I was to make a gazebo, I'd probably use like 3 times that amount. And for a builder that's looking to kind of be a little stingy in that way, this is much preferred than to something like I would put together. Okay, so this is the church. You can see they got the bell tower up here. That's just the bell top oven thingy. I don't remember the exact name. And then pillars, and then it's got, I think it's the lid of the fireworks crate, or it could be one of the hover part pieces, either or, kind of hard to tell. But inside, we've got the benches, again, place for a wedding, place for a funeral, or just regular church services. The little podium here for the book, again, very simple. We've seen a variety of these as well. But this is probably the quickest and most efficient way of doing it. It's just a pillar and a piece of decking. The decking has that extra little lip already built in, so you don't have to worry about kind of adding that. It's already there, perfect for the little book to be laid out. Moving on. Again, the brambles, both the green ones here, the regular, and the frosted ones, if you want a more of a winter type of landscaping, they are ideal for making those quickie forests. If you don't want to go through the trouble of planting tree after tree after tree, using these brambles is like heaven sent, because again, you can see how they've gotten multiple tiers. You can turn them which way you want and make them look a little bit more shapely if you want something a little bit more round and fluffy. They haven't sized them up as big as I prefer them, but it still works great, and just kind of hiding what you don't want seen, helping to kind of fill up, the gaps, and it just works wonderful. And the leany ones, you can see how it's kind of got an arch here. If you put those two together, it makes a great like a natural tunnel for those that want to have like a little tunnel of trees, of wooded forest that you have to walk through to get to your next destination. It's perfect. Uh, this line of homes here, I'm fairly certain all of these are faux. The main thing I want to draw attention to are the doors. We see a lot of different types of doors. We've seen bed ends and flat metal tables and hover park pieces, even the travel posters being used as doors. This one is using the picnic tables, the metal bracketed ones, for some of the doors. It makes them look like those really heavy oak wood type of doors, nice and solid. Bottle tops for the handles again, and then trimmed with 2x4s. This one goes back to the windows, upside down windows. Then you've got the doors this time trimmed in pillars, picnic tables. So it gives that illusion of maybe it's apartment complexes, um, maybe it's other types of businesses that's appointment only, like dentist shops or a doctor's office or something along those lines. And then the last thing we have is the little playground for the kiddos. It also includes a picnic area, kind of a sort of gazebo type style. It's Draken floors for the roof with Cassian pillars, and then just with the picnic tables underneath. Very simple, but perfect for like if you're wanting to set up some kind of a park scene for well, like an amusement park plot, and you need some place for your visitors to gather their food after they visited all of the food vendors, that kind of thing. Great for, I don't know, I'm sure there's a lot of ways you could, you know, instead of having the roofs like this, you could turn it into a tiki style by using the tiki roofs or the hay piles, that kind of thing. Lots of ways you could dress this up a little differently. Over here we have the actual playground items, this swing set. It's just pillars for the main brackets, hover part pieces for the seats, and then the hanging chains. Remember that the chains themselves have no collision whatsoever, so it's not like people can actually, you know, be blocked even if you made it a little bit more narrow than this is. Clearly someone could get in between them, but if you make them a little narrower, it's not going to affect their ability. For the seats, we've seen anywhere from 2x4s to lids to windows, like Oran windows for one that's going for a more Oran theme, to actual benches so that people can actually use them to sit on. We've seen tire swings, um, uh, ones that kind of look like the bowls, like from the domes, that kind of deal. We've even seen a few that actually look like a little infant's swing, where they've got the little bracket that goes around the front and that kind of thing with backs on it and all that kind of stuff. So this is one example. There's many ways you can go about it. Here's the little sled or slide. Again, many things I've seen used. Some have used the curved glass. Curved wall is typically the favorite, but I think some of the hover park pieces have been used pretty regularly as well. We've got the ladder for the steps up and then pillars for the support up here. Some get more elaborate, actually make the whole little jungle gym thing. If you're looking for something to look like climbing ropes and stuff, the ladders work really well for that. Trying to think what else. You could make a zip line. We've seen people make teeter-totters and merry-go-rounds, even those little bouncy horse thingies. They just put like some of them put like a little it's usually like the lever or the hammer or something, some kind of like little attachment, and then they just plop a plushie on it, and that's the little thing that bounces back and forth for the little kitties to ride on. Lots of stuff you could do for that. You could add a sandbox. We've seen a lot of those. A ball pit. Trying to think some other examples. Just some benches for the parents to sit on, aside from the snack benches over there. Um, any number of things could work. The last thing they have on here is the basketball court. Clearly, they could have gone even more elaborate and added the actual markings. Probably the best way to do that is using the edges of the curved walls. We've seen that via Katia's uh, soccer field, how she used those to make the markings of the different sides and the trim around the edge of the field and all of that. Excuse me. So yeah, curved walls is best for that. Notice this one didn't do that. Perfectly fine. Um, the baskets themselves is just a simple pillar, floor, and to a cup. It's probably the best representation. There's no mistaking. The only thing I probably would have done differently is turn the cup so that this part was the pretend attachment to it. That'd probably be the only thing I would change. If you want to keep it this simple. I mean, the basketball court is what, 7 pieces altogether? That's like, you can't ask for anything more simplified, but still be recognizable as to what it is. I appreciate that kind of building because I know not everybody can afford or want to be as elaborate as, putting up a scoreboard or making the markings on the ground or trying to fashion some kind of a hoop or net that actually you could tip, really see the ball going through kind of thing. So yeah, that would be a lot more pieces to try and fix that up. I wouldn't even know how to do that. That maybe, I don't know. Can't picture it. So yeah, that is James Mornaby's Skyreach Street. You can see as it's gotten darker on the plot how the street lights and the lights inside the buildings are really showing a lot better. Looks really nice, clean. You want your cities usually to be tidy unless it's specifically a hobo town kind of thing, which those are troublesome in their own right. But I like the cleanliness and uh, uniformity of all of it, having everything repetitive with the trees and how the buildings are put together. Everything looks like it belongs as it does. So yeah, excuse me. The next one we're going to go to is River Wild Sprout. Now this one I tried to kind of take a look at, but I didn't get all the way through it, so I'm not sure what all's in here. So it'll be a surprise for both of us. Yeah, I was thinking Marauder net shelves, or even the metal shelves, the graded shelves. I've seen people use those for wire baskets, like for trash. So maybe it could work if you maybe angled them a little bit so it had a wider top and then a narrower bottom, but I don't know how well that'd work. The net shelves, I see those mostly as the actual goals for like soccer fields and stuff, but I'm sure that could probably work too. Maybe even the Osun graded flooring. Get several of those and could make a little box. It won't be round or anything, but it'd be like a little box of netting, sort of. I know there's the Chua netting thing, but it's got those long handly bits. I think that would be problematic. Um, So I'm not sure about that. Uh, there's probably some other ways somebody could be real clever. Maybe even the ladders too, if you shrunk them down really small and put a bunch of them together, that could work too. I don't know. I think that'd be more pieces than would be wise, but I'm sure there's a lot of different materials that folks could do. I'm looking at this bridge and I'm thinking that might make a good hoop. It's not really a net thing, but it's like got a little hole that you could, I don't know, just a weird thing. Um, but maybe like the corral fence, I'd be like a really crappy looking basket hoop thing, like it's kind of messed up or something. Maybe several of those together would, because it's kind of like not a full-on circle, but close. That might work as well. I'm sure we could think of some other things, but yeah. So this is River's Sanctuary by River Wild Sprout. It's, as far as I can tell, it's Oran themed. There's a lot of Oran-y stuff. I mean, you can see by the bridge here that's uh, dressing up the front here. I think based on the color of the puffs that come up from this little area here, I believe this is one of the upside down uh, massive umbrella trees. Um, that and due to the size of this, I think the snowy hill has to be a lot bigger to be able to cover this area. And since this is a little smaller, I think it's pretty much the other thing. I love the way they've really dressed this up. Again, it takes time and patience in getting the pieces where you want them because the barriers, not only around the teleporter, but also the wall that comes up here. But they've managed to squeeze in quite a bit. You can see it's topped with one of those mangrove trees. And then they've put in, looks like Galeris stone walls topped with overgrowth, lots of hugel statues, lots and lots of pretty flowers. Some of these are from the spring decor pack. Others are from other things, like you've got some exonite stuff, you've got some of the Far Side Space Suite. Really nicely done. It looks natural. It looks like it came that way. They've even put in little clumps of canary flowers and such in between the stone path, and you've got a banana laying here. Just, I don't know why, if that's a clue or something. But yeah. So very cute little use of the bridge. It's not being used as a bridge per se, I don't think. I think it's just being used as an archway into this pretty little plot here. Okay, so you can see they've really packed in the trees. There's a lot of those canopy trees. There's uh, lots of the mangroves, lots of overgrowth. I mean, to make it look like the stones have been covered with moss and stuff. Here, I think is a combination for this little archway here is the trellises that they're using. You can see how kind of hard to see because they've got so much on top of it, but it's the trellises, the big one, not the little ones, but the big one with the 3 pieces of wood. They've got it making this archway here. Now, if we zoom out and kind of angle, you can see that there's some stuff going on up here as well. We'll get to that eventually. Notice they're using the Oran fences for the bridge here. So it looks like you might fall through, but it's the collision prevents you from doing that. Then we've got that walk through mushroom log, and then you come down to the path. So the entrance is over there somewhere in that cloud of stuff. The path rocks, those are the ones from the Starcom Basin. I think it's like the lowest requirement of reputation, so you can get it fairly quickly if you just start doing a little bit of the dailies there. You can tell where the insta hills are because there's no clutter. You can see the clutter here on the regular ground, but as they bump into the insta hills, the clutter's gone. It's just the way it works. But they've done a good job of trying to make it look sort of cluttered by adding their own grass clumps and other plants and such to make it look like it's purposefully meant to be kind of bare in spots. They've done a good job of kind of camouflaging that baldness. We'll go venture off a little more into these other areas, but I'm going to follow the path for now. Again, a lot of these plants and such are placed there by them. This little water feature here, that's one of the new waterfalls, and they've just used it as a pond feature inset into that proto-insta-hill that has the little hole in the middle. Works really great. There's a little bit of the clutter from the ground showing through, but they've added in their cattails and such, the lily pads and the little steam gliders and everything. So here we branch our path into sort of three directions. You've got the one that kind of loses the stones over here. You've got one directly off to the right and the one straight on. We're going to go to the one straight on because that leads to the actual house. It is an orange style house. I think it's the spacious one. You can see they've added a lot of plants. You've got the tall finger flowers. They've got some overgrowth stuck in here and there just to kind of liven it up a little bit more. Lots of those spring decor pack flower patches. And it all looks supernatural. Nothing looks faked in or squished in or whatever. So let's take a look on the inside of the house. Now, from just listening to other builders, especially beginner ones, there's always that trick of trying to find a prefab home that you're willing and able to work with. For beginner builders, they seem to prefer the straight-edged ones, like the spacious exile house. It's got straight walls. There's no question about how to divvy up the rooms and that kind of stuff. When it comes to the round walls, I think especially beginner builders tend to find those more problematic. This is a great example of how to use those curves without making it feel like it's just kind of out of place and odd. They just kind of follow that sort of and use it to their advantage. So straight off the bat, you've got the tree tables, and they've just inset them in different sizes to make it look like little tiered parts for like the dining area. And it helps blend in this multi-layered floor. If you've ever seen the Oren homes without any furniture, they have this weird multi-layered lumpy thing, and it's kind of awkward to try and think of what to do with it. You can see there's a little bit showing here, but the way they've put in the tables and tiered them up, it just looks a lot more like it was purposeful. They're using part of it as like almost like the stairs is what it's like. The coloring is pretty. I just think it's a really nice way of treating the floor here without it making it look really awkward and still maintaining the curved walls and stuff. There's a lot of custom building inside this, so we're going to try and take it one at a time and see what all we can spot. I'll try and not miss anything interesting, but like if you want to start off with something pretty simple and right at the beginning, we've got the flower motifs made out of the leaf windows. You can see that they're using the color shifting to give a little bit of difference. These could be representative of butterflies. I don't see like little antennas, but you know, You could turn it into that by adding like some wires or something to do that. Or even maybe like the ornate pillars, the little leafy things on the top for like antennas and turn them into butterflies. But I think these are just supposed to be flower motifs. Um, it's just the leaf windows again, and then an orange window for the center. For here, we've got a grandfather clock. We've seen many examples of those. Most of them have been fairly complicated. So this is a little bit of a more simplified version, but still clever in how it's put together. It's basically just an Oran cuckoo clock with the empty trophy cabinet as the base. They could have put in some glass or trimmed it up to make it a little bit more, but I really like the simplicity of this. It's just two pieces. You can't get any better than that, but still have technically the grandfather clock in the house. So I like that a lot. Again, I'm one that tends to go overboard in details. That's my uh, obsession, kind of. But I appreciate the builders that can find more simplified ways of representing something and still have it look really clever. And I think that's better for other builders to emulate than something along the lines of mine. So here's the kitchen. The railing is a ladder. Again, we've seen that used before. We've seen the fences being used as railing as well. Works really good. Pizza. This is more along the lines of how I do my pizza, using the cheese blocks. I don't know what they're using for this part. I suspect it's the cheese block itself, but the wooden part, the little panel thing, we've seen something similar, I think, in a former house with the pizza box, but they're just using some different pieces. It looks like, I don't know if that's metal planks or what. It looks to be like 2x4s that have been color shifted to black and white. And orange floors shifted to blue. The little pot planter, the one that's got that the other house used for the flowers next to the trees. I think that's what this is, and it's just flipped upside down. I use it a lot for like dinner trays where I put my platter of food on it. They're using it as a tray for the dishes. Metal plank for the magnetized knife holder. The cabinets are primarily staircase landings with, I think it's the vintage beer mugs. These are 2x4s with bottle tops as the handles. The pepperonis, I believe, are stools, the red stools. If you don't want to use those because of the way they have the interactability, you could use some of the fireworks if you have those. Use the Oran windows and change the colors maybe. Trying to think what else. The dynamite sticks, I've used that for my pepperoni. It's a little bit more lumpy, but you know, if you don't want perfectly round, then you can go with that maybe as a sausage instead of a pepperoni. They've dressed up the kitchen sink a little bit by adding in, I believe it's one of the, it's not the rain gutters, although those would probably work too, but this is the flower bed from one of the windows, I think. And then they've added in the little yellow flowers, the leafy stalks, and part of the small trellis. You can see a little bit of it sticking out just to give a little bit of fruit for the kitchen. They've also covered up the front here with 2x4s just to kind of make it their own rather than it just be the standard kitchen sink there. Notice how they've used the functioning doors for cabinetry so you can actually see inside. Most of the countertop is travel posters. I love that. It makes it look nice and sleek. It's almost like a marble or granite top kind of thing. It's very. If you want to go for wood, you probably use like the backs of some of the painting portraits, like the tree one, I think it is. But when it comes to metal or something a little bit more sleek, you can go with the travel posters, which I prefer. But I've also seen a lot of people use the medical tables or the flat metal tables for some kind of a metallic look. But I like how they were able to sneak in some actual working cabinets. Here, if it looks a little different, this is usually kind of a copper color. They've just color shifted it to the black and white, so it looks a little bit different. This is the item that they use for the bell tower on the other plot. Again, working cabinets, just showing that there are things down inside there. Little coffee machine here. I got the teacup. It's travel posters with, it looks like a color shifted metal edged block, and then the tablet computer with a bowl for the filter thing. Their little tray here, they actually made this. It's just 2x4s for that. Here's a soda machine. It's just using, I think it's called the body analyzer or scanner or something. I don't remember the name exactly. But notice they color shifted the drink, the soda cups, to make it look like you get different flavors. And then the refrigerator, which is interesting looking. You've got suitcases for the top. The backs of those portraits, it's like the Lumini or the, I don't know, Prince Lady guy, something or other. For the cooling effect, they've got not only icicles and such hanging on the shelves, but they also have the long portable holograph thing. That's what these bars are. That's why they're sticking out. And that gives it that little glowy bits. Notice they've color shifted some of the soda cans for different flavors. And then they just got different assortments of food and such. Good use of an off-season decor, including the Valentine pillow and the Christmas, or I guess I should say Winterfest. Is it Winterfest? I don't know. The holiday candy. You got the gingerbread cookies and the hard candies and stuff. Almost looks like little wrapped candies as well, these gift boxes. But the couch itself looks to be, trying to think what this is. It looks like sandbags that have been colored pink. I'm not quite sure about this part, if that's a fence piece or part of one of the trellises. It's hard to tell. But it looks like they've color shifted that quite a bit as well. It looks like this is part of one of those, this thing here. Looks like this to me. And then the painting in the back with the little flower, those are lots of color shifting going on here, but it's primarily triangle pieces, a dome or cylinder. Again, domes or cylinders for the heart, and then they've topped it with the floor to give it the heart shape. The leaves are the backs of the mounted heads, like the Chupacabra head or the buffalo moose or whatever it's called. They're just turned it around so you just see the back, and that gives the leaves. They've color shifted it to green. And then the stems of the flowers themselves are the curved walls. Very cute way of doing a painting in a simplified manner, but still be recognizable. As long as you can recognize what it should be or what you think it should be, I think the builder has done a great job. Here's a little feast using my least favorite table. I see that used more and more. Personally, I hate that thing, but I've seen a lot of people use it. They primarily get rid of the long legs by sinking it down in there, but that's probably why I didn't like it, because of the long legs, and I just never thought about sinking it down. But folks are finding good uses for it, so I appreciate that. I'm not sure if this is like a gravy bowl or a sugar bowl, but it looks like they're using snow clumps for that. What is this here? Somebody's little iPhone or something, a little laptop thing going on. Over here we have a little storage nook under the stairs. Let's see, we'll go down first, I think. This is their little treasure room where they're showing off their posters, plushies, little knickknacks that they don't have space for or use for, or it doesn't fit anywhere else. This is their trophy room. I still enjoy how they're using the tables, the tree tables. It's a very cute idea, and I like how they follow it through to the other rooms. Notice again the stairs, how they've really filled them out. 2x4s, nice and clean with the sides and everything. So here is a cute idea for a little table. You could use this as a picnic table. They're using it as a figurine display for all their little miniaturized NPCs, the one that don't move, so they kind of look like little figurines. I don't know if all of them have that problem, but I know I've heard some in the past talk about where they miniaturize or giganticize. I don't think that's a word, but they modify the size of the NPCs, and they don't always stay that way. I think these that are stationary, I don't think I've had too much experience with going to a plot and seeing that they're misplaced in size. I think it usually happens to the ones that actually move a little bit. I don't know if that's intentional or just happens to be the case just by chance, but just something I thought I'd mention. So if you have problems, issues with a particular piece changing its size when you leave the plot and come back, you might consider just trying, like, trial and error to find one to replace it that doesn't change. But it's basically just pillars and metal edge 2x4s for the legs of the table, and then unframed glass for the top. Over here, they dressed up a Chua stool by adding a pillar and then a Chua pillow to make it look like one of those gamer chairs or some such. The shelving itself is just exile floors. We saw something similar a couple weeks ago, I think, for a bedroom set. Notice the computer itself, the hard drive or the brain, is one of those technophage dilly whoppers. I say it looks like a fuel pump, but they're using it as the brain. So I guess it's supposed to represent like a razor brain or something. They've got cables even extending from the parts. They're using one of the, I think it's one of the Red Moon panels for the screen, and then they've got a dome for the mouse and included the wire cable for that as well, with the floor as the mouse pad. Just another collection of knickknacks and toys. Over here we got the movie spot, plushy couch. Looks like the game controls. It's just using detonators and control panels with the, it could be the magnetized container, which is red, I believe, and then this one, since it's green, that tells me it's probably the Shades Eve trap. But now that we have the color shifting, you could just probably turn the other one green if you don't get a hold of the Shades Eve one. Pretty simple. Notice they've got a little bag of popcorn here. It looks to be like they're using the spider eggs as the popcorn, like we did for one of our sports vendors. And so it's a combination of the Winterfest bags and the spider eggs to make it look like little bags of popcorn. Very clever. Be great for a theater house, movie house, amusement park, that kind of thing. This is just color shifted 2x4s with the speakers set in and then the screen laid on top for that art. This here, I'm not sure if it's resembles an existing kind of painting. It almost looks like some kind of a boardroom, kind of like stocks going up and down or something. But it looks like 2x4s for the edging for this symbol, and then a couple of domes or cylinders for the two. And again, lots of color shifting going on here to kind of lots of clever combinations to make it a little different. Okay, up to the next level here. Notice how they decorated the divider panels with the pollen plants, pollen balls, pollen plant. I don't remember the name. Getting really bad with that. But it makes it look a little bit more girly with the decoration on there. Lots of plushies. Great way to show off your plushie collection if you have no other place to put them. Here's a little vanity table. Again, the color shifting being used for like the vials. I guess this would be like a makeup case. They're using the red rocket as the lipstick. Got the little powder puff thing going on. Again, keeping those flower accents. A little igloo out of pillow plushies. I'm trying to see if there's anything unusual. I don't see anything specific. It just looks like a lot of pillows, plushies, a lot of color shifting to make things look different. I mean, you've got a color shifted pillow, looks like even a color shifted beach towel, color shifted candle there. This gives you an idea how it looks different. It changes it just enough to add a little something interesting. This here is one of those tribal mats. Very easy to get a hold of. Last room is here. It's one way to utilize this space. Typically, there's nothing there. It's just, it goes straight down into the basement part. And it's always fun to see what people do with the space here. I think this is probably the bathroom. Yeah, bathroom and shower. So you've got the nice little towel shelf here that's just dividers. And then, of course, they use the color shifting to change the colors of the t-shirts and the bottles here, or shampoos or whatnot. The sink bit here is a combination of the actual bathroom sink. Then they've got Chua cups for the faucet bits. There's hover part piece for the little bit here. There's the window. And then for the cabinet doors, it's exile floors for the box stem part to kind of cover up the bits of the sink itself. Staircase landings and bottle tops there. And I guess this is the toilet, which this is interesting in itself. They're using an actual seat. It's the Orin one, I believe, that's been color shifted black and white. You don't see the bright colors that usually comes with it. What the Z is supposed to stand for, I have no idea, but I guess that's the letter Z. It looks like metal planks for that, or the edges of some 2x4s or something. The back part, I think, is one of those Dominion wardrobes. This looks to be like one of the Space Chase bits. And this looks to be like the one of the locked chests from, I want to say it's the Lop decor pack. I love the toilet paper dispenser. Usually we just get either a hammer or a pillar or something like that. This actually has domes, and then it covers up the whole edge of the toilet paper there. I like that one. You could extend that to like 2 rolls of toilet, and then you have a paper towel dispenser for your kitchen. The clothes hamper, I love this one too. It's just mattresses to form the little container, and then they got color shifted socks and bras there. The tub is really cute. It's the water troughs. It's 2 of the water troughs, and then they've added in the actual waterfall, so it looks like moving water. The water trough itself, if you look down, there's actually a layer there that's kind of bluish, but I really like the way they've set this up so it looks more natural, like a true functioning bit of water, like ankle deep. Works good. I think this is the garden hose. The little T-lamp here is just the metal dividers. Again, color shifting, they've really been pretty free with the color shifting, even on the towels, the beach stuff, and for the paintings. I think this is the graded floor panel and then just domes. All of that. A lot of cute ideas. Why there's a banana, maybe that's a little game they have in this particular plot. There's some builders that like to just lay certain things out and then say, how many can you find? And usually it's like a plushie or something, but maybe theirs is bananas. I don't know. I've been seeing them in strange places, so maybe it is a banana game. But there you go. So that is the inside of River's Sanctuary. So we still have the whole exterior to mess with. So I'm going to go backtrack just a little bit to the path that breaks off, and that takes us to the campground. We've set a little trap, some cheese, cardboard. I don't know if this is supposed to be like a special like mushroom circle or something. Kind of a little scary with the topiary there. Of course, I got the tent. Here they've got the, I think it's called the Summoner Stones. I'm not really sure about that. It's the ones you get from the Alpha Sanctum instance. You finish it and you get one, and then it unlocks the others on the vendor for you, so you can get all of them. If you're wondering about the really bright glowing, that's the Ritual Candle Circle. If you don't want something as bright but similar, I think the Lop Shrine does something along the same lines with the glowing, pulsing light effect, but I don't think it's as annoyingly bright as the candles are. Somebody's little treasure pile. Just little things, just kind of sitting there. You won't see them unless you actually go wandering around. Not every builder does that. A lot of them just leave it kind of blank and there's nothing to look at, but it's always wise to kind of look around. You never know what you're going to spot. I've gotten off the path here. Not that there was really much of a path, but here's a little bit of a water feature. The cave. Now, the top part of the cave is actually, I think it's called the Pumera Cave or Matriarch Cave or something along those lines, and they've used one of the um, Osun NPC dogs, war dogs or whatever it's called, as the occupant. They've got a, I guess it's a corpse laying there in the bowl. He's got a reading book. Why he would have a reading book? Maybe it's for his owner that comes and visits. I don't know. But the rest is just the regular stones with a little bit of the overgrowth. And then it leads into a little bit of a water source for the pool that's here. And I believe this is part of the hot springs. That's why you're getting the smoke. And they've just layered on top of it with all of the stepping stones and so gray stones and then waterfalls to dress it up themselves. So again, with the decorative fab kits, there's a lot you can do to modify it to make it your own. And this is probably a really extreme example of such, where they've really gone out and just covered up like most of it. But it looks great. It really does. They've got little towels for whoever decides to come and sit. Color shifted candles again. And it's attached to this little place here, this little patio thing. It's got a place where you can pick up some towels. I think the base of it, if I'm not, oh, I got a sneeze coming on. Excuse me. I think it's decking pieces, and they've just patterned it up to make it look really neat and nice. I don't think it's the tribal mats, because that's a little bit different texture, and I don't think they could get this neat of a pattern with it. So I'm pretty sure these are decking pieces that they've just figured out a way to make it look like a nice thatch kind of pattern. I don't know which pieces specifically, but I'm sure if you experiment around, you could probably find something similar. But you can see some of it is trimmed up in 2x4s. They've got the decking stairs and railing to go along with it. Looks great. And then they've got this little inset of pillows where you can just kind of lounge around. The Barbie, that's of course from the summer decor pack. Oh, excuse me. The top of this little lovely thing looks to be just mostly 2x4s, uh, regular floors, and then a lot of overgrowth to get that nice ivy kind of privacy screening going on while you see all of that. And then on the back side, it looks to be some of those hedges. If you don't have the hedges or want to buy them, um, you could get away with just the regular brambles, or use a different, like maybe the moss covered overgrowth, just the tops of it, and kind of set up a darker color of some kind of bush treatment there. The arrow says go up. We'll go up here. I'm trying to stick down to the ground for the moment. Do that shortly. Here we have a little tent. Again, these tents are kind of awkward because the collision doesn't allow you to go in. No matter how big you make them, you can't go inside them. It's just an unfortunate bit about that, but they make great for decoration, to pretend like somebody could use it. Here's a bathroom. Got a simple sink, and then the toilet itself is a locked exile chest. There's a stool that actually allows you to sit on it so that you're on the potty. Then you've got the bowl for the base, and then for the lid, it's a Hugel portrait with a couple of tube things on the bottom to, I guess, account for the actual plumbing system. Okay, let's see. Trying to catch everything, but I'm sure I'm going to miss something because there's just so much here. Okay, this is again an example of a fab kit. I think it's the crafting fab kit that they've dressed up. They've put it nestled in a Protostar Instahill. You've got the canopy that's been added, the walls that have been added to cover it up. Whoops, it's down the path here. We've got some beach towels here to make it look like a little sunbathing area. Again, really took the time to cover it up to kind of make it look a little bit more personal. It's just a little different than everybody else's. Even though it looks the same with a lot of the parts and things, they've dressed it up from the outside to make it look different. Same way with this one, with the portal. It's a biome fab kit, and they've just kind of made it their own. Again, one of the new waterfalls, some of those candles from Arcterra to make it look like little floating votive candles. Gosh, I know I'm missing some stuff. Let's see. Let's go this way. This is getting close to the entrance where we come in. This is a little... I don't know if this is supposed to be like Alice in Wonderland where they got the Mad Hatter here, but the hat itself is actually the beach umbrella. They've color shifted it so it's not all that bright blue and yellow that I think it comes naturally as. And they've just stuck it inside the skeech there. They've color shifted the cans and the wine glasses and stuff. This here, again, I'm not sure. I think it's one of the newer plants. Yeah, really freaky looking. But there you go. Guess it's to tempt you to sit down and then you can capture somebody with it. But look at the detail. I mean, all of the different clumps of grass or stones. All of this they had to put in individually. Uh, I wish I could landscape like that, but I don't have the patience, I think. Again, covering the fact that there's no clutter on the little protostar insta-hill, they're masking that by throwing in little grass patches. That helps. Here we have a little tube entrance to an upper, we'll go to that here shortly. So we got at least 2 or 3 areas. Now this, I saw this, I'm not sure what this is supposed to be. It looks like some kind of creature, but I'm not sure if it's supposed to be representative of one that's actually in the WildStar world, or if it's just something out of their own imagination, but it looks disturbing, to say the least. It's made out of a variety of plants. The eyes are bottle bottoms. This is the, I think it's the infused habanero bloom for, I guess it's trunk or snout. So maybe it's an anteater or something. The body of it is a combination of those, I think it's like the tall bramble and then some overgrowth to get those spikes. It's like upside down overgrowth. And then the legs are, I think it's the tentacle plants. It's the ones that's got the little purple flower at the top. And they're using it as the base for the legs. The rear end is one of those stinky mushrooms that puffs out the smoke every now and then. So it's like the creature has gas, which is disturbing in its own way. But I really don't have any idea what if it's supposed to be an anteater or an aardvark, or I just don't know. But there it is. It's just a weird thing. Let's see back here. Yeah, I think this is kind of reminiscent of uh, Alice in Wonderland, because we've got the little caterpillar guy up here. He's made out of files and one of those, I don't remember the name, it's one of the plushies, looks like a little beetle thing, and a couple of spears, it looks like, for his intended. Well, actually, that might be the ear twigs from the Lop snowman. Just a little weird looking. Very nice and shiny, that's for sure. That's a little creepy with the bows on top of the head. This one's got a hat. Okay, I think I'm kind of losing track of where I'm going here. I'm probably seeing things way out of order because I'm maybe not following the true path, but what can you do? You got a carrot on the loose. We're going to see some weird stuff. Okay, let's go this way. Now, this part here, this is just a little camp area. You're wondering about the drinks with the little fruit pieces. That's again from the summer decor pack. This part here, though, and I honestly am not sure what all is Fab Kit and what all is not Fab Kit. I presume I really am not for sure. But looks like a little party spot for the Orin. And I think this is all the fab kit, all of this from here on down to the end here. I don't remember the name of it. It's a newer one, and it's got its own interior, which I'll show you here momentarily. But I can't honestly say if anything's been added or not because I'm not really familiar with it. I don't usually buy the fab kits myself. I just happen to come across them when I'm visiting other people's places. But it looks cute, and it certainly fits into this particular theme. But the little interior you access through the door here. Does it seem so? I honestly couldn't say, and I didn't want to just say, well, clearly she hasn't, because I kind of assumed she did because she's, or they have been adding to the other ones, but as to know which ones is what, I couldn't say for sure. I don't even know what all might be added in here. This looks handmade. It's windows and pillows and chains and fence pieces for the little bench here. So I'm going to guess that's custom, but like the little shelf canopy here, I think that's part of this particular fab kit. Um, I'm not sure what else might be part of it or not. But it's certainly an option for those that are looking for an extra interior space kind of thing going on. Something a little out of the ordinary. See, like this piece of cake, that looks custom as well. But then I don't know because I couldn't say for sure. Looks like color shifted mushrooms or something, or maybe those candy drop trims from the holiday event. And then looks like a couple of different shaded not cornerstone. Is it cornerstone pieces for the snow bits? The table is just a combination of tables with the vine stuck in. Looks really cute. Again, it's hard for me to say specifically. I can only just kind of pick out things that kind of look like stuff that they've added. But yeah, it looks adorbs to me. I love that they have the little carrot thingies in there. I mean, the other vegetables too, but definitely the carrots. Just making sure I'm not missing anything. And again, it's hard for me to tell. Go back outside. Oh, is it basically an empty shell on the inside apart from the sleeping Orin and that big shelf? Well, that's good to know. And then you can see that they added quite a bit then. Again, I couldn't say for sure outside. I think this is probably added. It looks like a bowl with a pillow stuck inside it. Maybe some of the flowers have been added in. Then over here we have the garden fab kit, which they've added fencing around it. Now this is some of the straight lined white picket fence that's from the actual spring decor pack. We do have the ones that you can craft yourself, but they look a little bit more ramshackle because the sticks are uneven and they don't have the points here, and it just looks a little bit shoddier made, but it'll, do the same more or less. Oh, let's see. Trying to see if there's anything else out here on the bottom. Right over here, they got a little bit of a lop area. Here's that lop shrine. I said it has a bit of a glow to it. I think it's not as bright as the candle one, but it has the same kind of effect. Now most of this decor here is from the lop decor pack, including the Kurg, the hay pile stack, some of the fencing I think with the dream catchers on them, the little hut here, and the string lights as well. That's the little cave with the dog in it. Just trying to see if there's any other little hidden goodies here before we start making our way up into the treetops. Don't see anything else. Okay, so let's find that place with the arrow pointing up if we can. I think that was over here. Yeah. Now let's pray that my jumping skills don't fail me too badly today. Like, so not good for me. I remember these particular like mossy twigs that they're using are not very cheap. Ah, gonna fall. Okay, there's a little hut thingy here. It's using the mossy overgrowth for a little hut there. Kind of cleverly put together. Is that the end of it, or is there more? Gosh, there's more. I'm gonna so end up falling. I'm sure someone better skilled at moving around like this could do this much faster, but my apologies. Oh gosh, it just keeps going. Up and up and up. I think I'm almost to the top, amazingly enough. I'm going to say that and then I'm going to fall. That's what's going to happen. Okay, I'm not going to try and go any further. But you can see they're using some of those treasure piles. I think it's actually the Dragon Hoard pile because the regular treasure pile has all of the vases and stuff in it. And they're using the Dragon Hoard one that just has the gold pile. And it looks like overgrowth, the mossy stuff again. So we'll see. But what a colorful view. Oh gosh. It'd take me forever to get down here without falling. I'm just gonna, it makes me too nervous. I'm gonna just zap back down. I'm gonna cheat and do it that way because it's just gonna drive me bonkers. Making sure that there's nothing I can get to from the bridge here. I know there's these little bits here, but I'm not sure how to get to them. Doesn't look like we're meant to see them from here. Okay, so let me just go back out. Maybe it's to use these. No. That failed miserably. Maybe if we just get up there and I'll actually find how you're supposed to reach it, but there we go. I'm up in them. It's like little gazebos up in the tree. It's basically just bowls and pillars. This one's filled with some pillows and beach balls. I don't really know the actual way to actually get up here, but there you go. And then one final, I think, is the one with the tube, which is this way, I believe. Oh, looks like there's some stuff up here as well. Crud. Well, let's go this way first. So here we have a little house made out of the decking pieces. A lot of, again, the color shifting coming in handy for some of the pieces, using the travel posters as a deck of cards, so making their own little card game here. Almost like a little clubhouse kind of thing going on. Nice little view of the rainbow and the fireworks sky going off. Notice their telescope. It's an upside down tree table. Plus they've got some of those Oran fence posts, dress it up a little bit, and then the scope itself is just a number of tubes. They've also got tree tables. This is one of those Oran pillars, I think. And then the very end is the bottom of a file, I think, or a bottle. Access to another little gazebo in the trees. Let's see. Not sure how to get to the other one. Ooh. Let's go to the house, I guess. Yeah, it looks like they've got something set up here. This is one of those, I don't know what it's called. I think it's canopy something. I don't know if this is part of the fab kit or not, to be honest. But it looks like they're using some of the nautical furniture and bits to make a little display up here. I thought there was something closer to the house though. Let me look. Yeah, they put some boardwalk around here. And added like a little balcony type of area. They've got the house covered with a massive umbrella, not a massive umbrella tree, a mangrove tree. And then they've added in the boardwalking up at the top. There's probably some things that I've missed, but hopefully not too much. Sometimes it's more fun to come and visit in person and discover some of these things on your own. While I do try to hit everything, I can't guarantee I will. So my apologies to the builder in advance if I missed anything. I think there's some stuff up over here as well. Let me try and get up there. Oops. That's the shroom guy. Let's see. No, don't fall down. Maybe this is how you get up to those. I think this is the, yeah, we've already been here. Okay, so I think we've gotten all of it, hopefully. I'm sure there's probably some good places to camp out if you're looking for some overall screenshots, but it's so heavily covered with trees, it might be tricky. Going up that one really tall winding roots, you might be able to grab some that way if you don't go all the way to the tippy top, but um, yeah, definitely a lot of fun ideas. Very natural looking landscaping, which I absolutely adore because, again, that's not a strong point for me. So I love it when people can pull that off nicely. And hopefully it gives you some inspiration for your own plots. Even if you're not really into the Oran thing, there's still some furniture ideas and stuff that you can walk away with that you can utilize in so many different ways and change it up to suit your particular theme, whatever it might be. But yeah, really, really lovely home. Same way with the one that we visited earlier. A lot of fun ideas I think that people could utilize, even if they're not using a city plot. I mean, the little playground ideas and stuff are great for any kind of a home. And even the faux doors and stuff, those could be used on any type of theme plot, etc. So hope you guys had fun today. Again, we do this every week, or that is the plan anyway. We'll be back on Jabbit next week. And hope you had fun. I hope you walked away with some ideas, and hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.